This has been a really tough decision for me. The person who I'll be investing in, congratulations, goes to Chris. Young man, I need to tell you something really important. Your product could quite honestly change the world. I want to be part of that journey with you.
Thank you.
Right by your side. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Holy shit. How does it feel to be partners with Gordon Ramsay?
It's kind of surreal. It hasn't hit me yet 100%, but going through what we went through all those weeks, it's fulfilling. You know, I was driving in here today and I was watching that clip and I just said, that's me. That's Smart Cups. It really hasn't completely hit me yet, but I'm really excited to see what's going to happen in the future. You know, you've seen me the last couple months here, how much Smart Cups means to me. You were there on the last episode with me. Yeah. You know, when they baited me into showing emotion, like I don't typically do. But it's a great feeling. I'm glad that Gordon saw what I was hoping he would see. And now it's about the future. It's about how do we ramp this thing up? How do we partner together and figuring all that stuff out? Yeah. So I'm pretty excited about it, even though I seem like I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted. The whole situation has exhausted me. But side note, I have a funny story from the finale. I don't know if you noticed this, but you know, they surprised me with my family. Gordon comes in, introduces himself to my whole family, and Joey, my middle son, refuses to shake Gordon's hand. He refuses to make eye contact. He refuses to shake his hand. And Gordon actually has to pull it out of him and is like, young man, you shake a man's hand. And Joey's just like, yeah, whatever. I'm like, you dick, you're going to cost me this fucking investment and partnership.
Well, it's good. It's a good thing to know that he's not infatuated with what they call celebrities. And so he's just not faced by it.
No, he just doesn't care. He was like, yeah, that's Gordon Ramsay. I don't want to shake his hand. Gianna on the other side is infatuated by Gordon Ramsay, but you know, as you know, I was away from my family for 2 months doing this thing because ultimately I thought it was going to benefit my family, but it affected her in such a way where when are you going to come home? Anytime I talk to her, when are you coming home? Did you win yet? Did you lose yet? She was hoping that I would lose so that I could come back home. So now, you know, we shot this thing about a year ago. At least once or twice a week, she's like, you're not leaving. Anytime I'm ready to leave the house, she's like, you're not leaving, are you? You're not going to go do another Gordon Ramsay show. So that's the interesting part about this with the kids.
I'm sure your kids are glad that you came home with the milk. They probably were starting to think you weren't coming back.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no. Daddy went out for the milk and he didn't come back. No, Daddy came home with the milk, and it was cool that I got to share it with them, and they surprised me with my family.
Yeah, we'll get into a little bit more on, you know, your thoughts on winning the show later on in the episode. But this challenge was by far, you know, the most unique challenge that Gordon put in front of us. And to be a part of that, to see, you know, the three finalists have their company come to life in a visual concept was nothing short of like breathtaking. You could tell walking into, you know, being in your room in the Smart Cups concept pop-up shop that we put together. You could feel the emotion, you could feel the passion, you could see the hard work that you put, because like you said, you're an emotionless guy for the most part. You don't show your emotion, and then walking into that room and seeing what Gordon had put together for Smart Cups, you literally cried. And
I walked in, you were there, and I just broke down like a baby, because it's not just the challenge, it's not just the competition, it wasn't just about the investment.
No.
In that moment when I walked in and I saw that pop up, it was like I had 11 years of my life flash in my brain at one time. all the sacrifices, all the shit, what the fuck do we do? All the, great times, bad times, the adversity, all the compromises, the arguments, the high points. And even I walked in there and I even had flashbacks to being a kid, 10 years old, taking a college chemistry class, working in a lab when I was 12, not going to camps as a kid, all those sacrifices, not really having a summer, staying up late, as a 14-year-old, 15-year-old, all the shit that I had to eat my entire life just all flashed in front of me. And I said, holy shit, this is my life's work. And to see my life's work in this room is amazing.
Yeah.
It was almost like a I made it moment. Mm-hmm. It was like, oh shit, this is awesome. This was, I've done all of this and it was for something.
No, and in the time that we spent filming this show, I learned a lot about you. I learned a lot about smart cups, and the idea of smart cups always fascinated me because it was larger than life. It was something that I had never personally experienced, and to hear you talk about it, and you could just tell the amount of work that you put into it. And so to see it, for me, I tried smart cups for the first time in that finale.
Yeah.
And so to see your product and hold it, to basically see everything that you talked about come to life, and I get to experience it all. They took everything to do with your company and put it into a visual concept that displayed, all the positives that Smart Cups does. It's not about the energy drink that Smart Cups has. It's much deeper than that. And to see the economic impact, like we had the stand of the 500 cans, to represent how much you save in shipping costs. It was such a cool experience.
Yeah, that was really cool. Like that concept. This is something that we've talked about internally for quite some time, but they made it a reality. And that visual is so powerful. When you see 500 cans, what they weigh, and then you see the equivalent in 500 Smart Cups. The environmental impact, the economic impact, the convenience impact, it's just the storage impact. It's huge, right? And you walk into that pop-up, and it looks like an Apple store.
Oh, yeah.
It's when I started Smart Cups, I'm like, this is going to be easy. No one's ever seen this before. We're not going to have to focus on marketing. It's going to sell itself. It's going to be fucking easy. One of the best examples, I go to a Knicks-Lakers game, and I was introduced to the trainer of the Knicks. So after the game, they bring out a couple players out to come look at stuff, and I showed them a couple prototypes. I wish I had a camera on me because these guys were going, oh, shit, that's some straight-up David Blaine shit. That's back in 2015, 2016, before we commercialized. So I have all these Knicks players freaking out. I'm thinking in my head, man, this is going to be like shooting fish in a barrel. Never did I think that it was going to be so difficult for the general consumer to really understand the concept behind Smart Cups. And so for me to agree to be on Food Stars was, not really the investment. The investment's great. I'm looking forward to it. But more for that validation. For me to have a platform that I can go and explain the high points. And I got to say, thanks to Gordon, thanks to Fox, they provided me with that platform, and that's invaluable in and of itself. Just for millions of people to come on and see what Smart Cups is all about and get excited about it, and for Gordon and his team to help with the messaging around it, to improve it so that the common human being can understand it, and I'm not explaining all this technical shit that just goes over people's heads. That was really cool. And yeah, it's you can tell I'm still exhausted by it all, but it was really it was an amazing experience. I will say that when I gave my speech, my mind went completely blank, and it's never happened to me in my life. My mind just, and I see Gordon come in, and I'm like, shit, now it's speech time. And I went to a corner of the room just to regain my thoughts, and I'm like, shit, I forgot all my words that I'm going to say. And I just said like a little prayer, I'm like saying a little prayer. I'm like, please give me the wisdom, give me the words, blah, blah, blah. And this lady who was there during our pop-up, she comes over. I guess she was a molecular biologist or a chemist or something. And she's like asking me what my PhD is in and all this stuff. And I just looked at her. I'm like, not right now. I don't remember anything. I don't remember anything. Luckily, the words came in my mouth, and I'm hoping I did a good presentation. I think I did. I mean,
obviously you won the show, so I think your presentation did you just fine. But being in that room, in that moment, there was a lot that led up to this throughout this challenge. So Gordon gave the 3 finalists the one task each. It was each of you needs one thing that can dramatically fix your business. And so for Lan, she was challenged to create a ready-to-drink coffee product. Caroline was challenged to create a frozen pizza using her pizza sauces.
Yeah.
And then for you, it was how do we effectively communicate your branding? With Smart Cups, from my understanding and being here the last few months, is that educating the market on what Smart Cups is, how it's used, and what are the benefits of using a product like Smart Cups. That's where like the biggest hurdle has been in the company thus far, I feel like.
Well, that and the fact that we had to make all our manufacturing equipment from scratch.
Right. That's also a big hurdle.
When we launched in 2018, we launched with just very basic manufacturing equipment. So we couldn't really take on retail distribution. We couldn't take on white label opportunities, but I had a go-to-market strategy that was based on our production capacity, and I didn't want to be Willy Loman knocking on people's doors. And so I figured, okay, the bigger companies will understand this. We can prove this in the marketplace, see if the market there's a demand for this technology, if it's going to be viable, and then we can scale from there. It was like clockwork. A couple months after we launched, every big company came knocking on our doors. Owen can attest to this. I mean, every major company, we're talking the 40, 50 largest companies in the world, talking about their applications and, putting it in Smart Cups technology format. We couldn't supply that. A global multinational company came to us for our printed mouthwash and wanted 10 million cups a month to just do their test. And I'm like, call me back when we figure this out. So the biggest hurdle really has been, how do you scale the production of it? And that's what we've successfully done here. We've, 4.5 years, millions of dollars to implement an automated production system that we can scale from there and take on white label enterprise business. But the second biggest hurdle has been the marketing. The common person, they're seeing this cup and they're going, how is this sustainable? They see plastic, but they don't see a plant-based cup. They don't realize that shipping affects our environment way more. Shipping liquid affects our environment way more than plastic. And when you're discussing sustainability, you have to look at the entire picture, not just focus on one aspect of it. And unfortunately, most people that are passionate about the environment, they don't see the bigger picture. Right. They have a visceral feeling. And so how do we address those things in an effective manner? We're not limited to the plastic cup. We're not just an energy drink company. Not a plastic cup. We're the plant-based cup that looks like a normal plastic cup. We're not an energy drink. We can print anything on anything. And that's really the message. And the elimination of liquid transportation, providing efficiencies in the supply chain, that's going to provide way more in terms of sustainability than people can even fathom. And then the ability to provide micronutrients around the globe. A study just came out on our technology that says that we can deliver up to 31 times in a truck than traditional bottles and glass bottles and cans and plastic bottles, right? And so think about that, 100,000 units in a truck versus 3.1 million units of the same product. And you're going to go deliver that. So you're getting more resources out to a wider group of people while using less resources. So that's really the message. And I think Gordon's team did a fantastic job of breaking that all down. Funny thing was that the marketing team that he put me in touch with,
right,
was a marketing team that I had reached out to back in like 2014 or 15, but they were too expensive and I didn't go with them. And the other funny thing is, like Lan had her group and Caroline had her expert that were helping with their companies. When I was walking by Lan and she was working, I said, I know those guys. I know those guys. The guys the group that helped Lan actually formulated Smart Cup's first flavors back in 2017. And so I've been around the block. I've been around the block, and it's just exciting to see that all this hard work is going to pay off, because I honestly, I'm really excited about being partners with Gordon. I think it's going to be good.
I'm super stoked to see, just since I've been here, but to see like the partnership and what's going to come out of it over the next few months, the next few years. The possibility is truly endless, especially with someone like Gordon sitting at the same table as you to work on the ideas and execution.
Well, I said to, Gordon asked me point blank, he's like, why are you here? Why are you here? And I said, I'm not here for the 250 as much as I am to be partners with you, because your buy-in to Smart Cups almost guarantees commercial success. That'll lead to adoption, that'll start a domino effect, and then we can expand into all these different applications, from cosmetics to nutraceuticals to pharmaceutical partnerships, and then the humanitarian applications, which is what I'm most passionate about. I think Smart Cups technology has a legitimate shot at changing people's lives. And being able to provide food, micronutrients to underdeveloped regions around the world, have longer shelf lives, that's Nobel Prize worthy work. So when I sit across from Gordon and I say, listen, with all due respect to my competition, one's doing pizza sauce, the other one's doing coffee. Both those products I can do. And throughout the competition, it was always the same message: cookies, crepes, restaurants, beef jerky, snow cones. I can do it all. I've been in the CPG space for a long, long fucking time. I have a rich Rolodex of people. This shit at Smart Cups is fucking hard. Fucking hard. And I'm looking at Owen. I could go sell cookies. I can go sell beef jerky, and we could grow that company with the strategies and the blueprints that are available. Doing this shit is fucking hard.
Right. There's a bunch of elements within this company that have never been developed before, have never even been thought about. And that's not only what makes Smart Cups so unique, but I think it's also what makes it a very unique opportunity for Gordon. And the fact that he went big on Smart Cups and partnering with you, it speaks a lot to the magnitude of what he envisions and what he wants to do with his companies and portfolios going forward.
That's right. Yeah.
And so I think that, this partnership with Gordon is going to be nothing short of incredible, especially when he continues to do not only just shows like Food Stars, but just the portfolio that he builds behind the scenes, off camera, for him to be able to bring any sort of food product, drink product to you and be like, Chris, help us, cut down on our shipping costs. Like, let's work together. And you become an asset to Gordon forever now.
Yeah. And it's interesting because just last week, a burger chain reached out and asked if we can make a printed lemonade for their kids' meals. Opportunities. One of the largest hotel chains has reached out and inquired about printed mouthwash for their rooms to further their commitment to sustainability. And so, and it's funny because the general public sits back and they watch this reality show, but they don't realize what the business test here is. People go, oh, Chris, you're a background character. You really didn't help here or there. Oh, bullshit, I didn't. Like, production and editing played you like morons. There's a reason why I wasn't at the forefront acting like an asshole. Well, number one, I didn't really act like an asshole throughout the thing. I didn't get into any arguments with people. I kind of, my professional reputation is more important to me. But in the back of my mind, I always thought I was going to get kicked off for something stupid. Undercooking meat, not delivering Uber Eats. I mean, just something. But I think deep down inside, Gordon knew about Smart Cups and the potential of Smart Cups, and was like, okay, this guy's got some chops, and I think he gets the bigger picture. And the bigger picture isn't just making an instant, energy drink. The bigger picture is helping people and helping the world.
Right.
And that's what the message here is with Smart Cups.
Right. I think, most of these people that listen to this, whether you're fans of the show and found your way to our podcast, or you're someone who is an entrepreneur, someone who's wanting to start a business, when you look at things like companies like Smart Cups, at face value, they offer a product to a consumer. But what you don't realize is that any of these bigger businesses in the world, they do most of their revenues through doing business with other businesses. And so that aspect of Smart Cups doesn't quite get highlighted, but the reality is that's where Smart Cups really can dominate, is becoming, a provider and a manufacturer for many of the largest companies.
And licensing opportunities and royalty avenues, right? Like I have a clear path to, and I had this conversation with Gordon, I have a clear path for an ROI, if that's what you're looking for. But I have something that nobody else has.
Right.
And that is, you have Michelin stars, I'm giving you the opportunity to go do Nobel Prize worthy work. Right. But on top of that, most importantly, I'm not coming to you with a product. My product is a technology platform that's capable of doing anything.
Right.
So it's very wide. The potential is very wide, and the savvy investors and the savvy business people, they recognize that. And so, don't be mistaken out there. Gordon Ramsay is more than just an angry, hot-headed UK guy. Guy's fucking smart.
Oh, yeah.
His team is smart. The Fox team, they're smart. So for them to recognize that makes me feel great about what it is that we're about to go venture off and do.
Well, people love Gordon because of his personality and the TV shows that he puts on. That's what he's majoritarily known for. But in reality, Gordon holds, he said it multiple times to put us down. He has $1 billion enterprise in entertainment.
Yeah.
$1 billion between his restaurants and the TV shows. So, no matter what his personality is, Gordon is a very intelligent man who has built a portfolio of over $1 billion in multiple different realms of business. And so to get someone like him with the knowledge, the experience, the expertise, dude, it only adds to your palette of people that you can go to and work with.
Yeah. My network just grew exponentially.
Yeah.
It's and so it's the whole reason I went on the show. You get that stamp of approval, you expand your network.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And so to everybody out there that's listening that doubted me, go fuck yourselves.
That's a Chris Cannick fashion.
No, seriously. Seriously. I mean, I remember being on the show and having arguments with Luther and him going, him worried about his chicken or this or that. I'm like, Luther, he's like, do you think Gordon would invest in your business? I'm like, yes. I have the farthest along business with the greatest reach and global opportunity. I mean, we're getting emails from people out of Kuwait and Ghana and Australia, and those are things that we can probably do within the next year or two.
Right.
So if you're looking at the bigger picture, if you're not myopic, Smart Cups was probably the best investment choice.
100%.
But I respect everybody that was on the show. You're a fucking hustler.
I try to be.
You struck out at me, and I was like, shit, that's one of the smartest young kids I've ever met in my life.
Appreciate that.
And here we are on a podcast together.
I still wipe my ass back to front, so I don't know how smart I am.
Damn. I guess old habits break hard, right? That's it. Oh.
No, but being in that finale, the fact that you brought me back was awesome. Like I couldn't have asked for just a better opportunity. I was knee deep in the woods of southern Missouri after getting booted from the show, and I was like 3 days in this camping trip with no service, and then we went to go get a burger, and I was like, dude, I got an email with flight tickets for tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. I was like, we got a 6-hour drive. I have to fucking leave because I'm not missing this finale.
That's funny.
So we drove.
It was that quick. It was that quick, huh?
Yeah, they sent me them the night before, and it was like, your flight leaves tomorrow morning at 7 a.m.
Oh, shit.
So then I was like, sorry, bro. I know I was with my buddy. I'm like, I know we got like, a few more days of this trip, but I got a fucking blast. So me and him.
Were
had
you
to wrap up.
pissed? Were you pissed?
Yeah, I kind of was.
You were?
I kind of was, because I was thoroughly enjoying my human detoxification in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. So were you like, fuck you, Chris, pick someone else?
No, because that was one of those things, going on the show in general was such a huge experience. It was the biggest thing I'd done up to that point in my life. It's like I couldn't turn down going back for the finale of the show and getting, being on your team. I had my strong opinion that you would win over Lan and Caroline, and if you weren't to win, I would have been highly disappointed because of
yeah.
I
Well, you're
like
kind of biased.
Yeah,
you're kind of biased.
I am kind of biased.
I'm sure if you ask Sydney or you ask Megan, they feel like their person probably should have won.
That's very valid.
Yeah.
But to be there and be able to experience something like that, the finale, and see everyone's, your 3 businesses come to life, it's a surreal moment. And one of the things that I was thinking about this weekend was that you learn, or for me at least personally, I learned the most just from being in the same room as certain individuals. And so by being in a room with you at a moment, such like almost a peak in your life to get to be in that moment, you learn a lot from the way that you behave. To show emotion when you don't show emotion, you can tell that there was a lot that you had put into this moment. And to hear Gordon say the things that he said, Smart Cups has the potential to change the world. Dude, I literally have like the exact fucking line tattooed on my arm. One man can change the world. And so to hear Gordon use words like that and just to be a part of that moment, I learned so much. And then now being here, I was sold at that point, but then uprooting everything that I was doing and moving out here to California just to get a better idea of like what it is that you have done and get to see it for myself. I would do it a million times over. Like,
well,
I feel like I learned a lot from that.
I appreciate that, you saying that, but
because the idea of Smart Cups is larger than life, and sometimes it's like you either go big or go home.
I hear that all the time from people. Like even Gordon's like, you have big dreams. I don't think of them as big dreams. I think as them as achievable goals.
But let me ask you this. How many people watching Gordon Ramsay's Food Stars is sitting in their living room on a Wednesday night thinking, yeah, I'm going to go get a Nobel Peace Prize, and legitimately believe themselves when they say that? Nobody. And you're sold on that idea.
Yeah, I can't speak to everyone else. There is an interview that my high school mentor, my chemistry mentor, she was my mentor from the time I was 12 to... I spoke to her just a week ago because she watched one of the episodes. Mm-hmm. And I reminded her, I said, I still have on a VHS tape when I won my first science fair, and they interviewed when I was 14, and they Cablevision interviewed her, the local New Jersey station, and they asked, 14-year-old disproves Harvard professor, blah, 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 all the, BS that goes along with that. And I remember I wasn't there for the award ceremony because I think I was in Washington, D.C. for a Model UN competition. That's the level of nerd I was. But they interviewed my mom and they interviewed my science teacher. And she says, who says that a kid from Union City can't win a Nobel Prize? And so that's stuck with me for a very long time. I think everybody's given a gift in life. And I think that it's your choice to do something with that gift. And I feel that I've been given certain gifts, given where I grew up, how I grew up, to do something positive with it. Scientists can go make a fucking H-bomb or a biological weapon, or they could do something with their talents that makes a positive impact on the planet. And so national security manipulated in certain ways, or you can provide micronutrients to people in a sustainable, efficient manner. I don't know. You pick your poison. I picked my poison. But for me, it's always been an achievable goal. For me, but for outsiders, they think it's crazy. I get called crazy all the time. I said it in my speech. Mm-hmm. From the time I was like 5 years old, people have told me I'm crazy. Yeah. Or, but when I say I'm going to do something, I do it. Owen's shaking his head. I don't care how hard it is, what I have to do, which wall I have to break, who I have to schmooze. I'm going to get it done. My wife, for the first couple of years that we were together, she didn't believe me. And then we're doing all this stuff. We were doing construction at Smart Cup. She still didn't believe me. She's like, where are you going? I got plans to look. She goes, how do you know how to read these plans? I'm like, I don't know. I just taught myself. I'm like, I'm going to the AQMD to go talk to the inspectors to figure out how to do this stuff. I'm going to the health board to go figure out how to do so. You don't understand? Yeah, I started working in a lab when I was 12, but I'd never built a lab. It's a very different to be a scientist that goes in and works in a lab that's set up for you. And it's another thing to go set up a lab, set up a food pharmaceutical registered facility and meet those criteria. So I don't ever think of a goal or a dream as being too big. I think everything is achievable. It's just how much work you want to put into it. You know, I think I'm finally getting to the age though where I think I'd like to sleep until about 5:30, 6 o'clock. I think I'm at that age. 3 kids, you know, this business, you know, I think I need to tone it down to wake up at 5:30 now, as opposed to 2, 3 o'clock in the morning and start my day. The older you get, the more sleep you need. I'm like, I took a nap the other day and Caroline texted me and she was all pissed off. She's not pissed off, but she was like, who takes a nap in the middle of the day? It's like babies. I'm like, well, like people are saying I kind of look like the Gerber baby or like, you know, other shit. So I do. I like baby Jack or whatever his name is from Incredibles, or Boss Baby. I've heard it all. Like these people that think that they're so clever, I've heard it all. I've heard every short joke. I've heard every hair joke. It's like if the worst thing you're going to say to me is I have a stupid haircut, great. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. You know, I tell Owen all the time, I'm like, I've heard every fucking short joke imaginable. If you're going to come at me, I appreciate a good short joke more than anybody else. At least come at me with something original that I could like, that's something that I haven't heard before that I could laugh at. Right. But in life, I don't get too worried about things that you can't control. And I only worry about the things that I know I can control and the things that I can drive forward. Mm-hmm. And so those are the things that motivate me. And
well, you touched on one thing that I find interesting, especially as, you know, a business operator, an owner, a CEO. You said that you believe anything is possible, and I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions between people who are living in, you know, an average life, going through their 9-to-5 mundane jobs. Yeah. Is those are the people that don't believe anything is possible. And so I don't know. I've always found it fascinating because I'm in the same room. I think that you can do anything you want. You just have to figure out what hurdles you have to get through. But there's certain people that think that a lot of goals are unattainable. It's the same people who tell you know, when you were 15 saying, like, or your wife, like, you're not going to print alcohol. I don't believe you. Yeah. And to do these things, you know, those people will never do anything that is arguably not true or something that's never been done, because they don't have the belief that they can do something and outside of the normal. Yeah. You know, like,
now granted, not everybody has the same capacity and not everybody has the same skill set to believe in that, because they've probably tried and they fail, right? I've made a career at disproving people. Tell me I can't do something. Right. I'm going to prove you wrong.
Caroline said the same exact thing. So it's a common...
it's a common theme.
Right.
Tell me I can't do something. I'm going to prove you wrong. And I'm going to prove you wrong, and I'm not going to tell you I told you so. I'm just going to let you watch me succeed, because I don't got to rub it in your face. I thrive when people tell me I'm a piece of shit. I thrive when people tell me I'm an idiot. I can't do something. I'm wasting my time. That's when I go, all right, motherfucker, I'm going to show you, and I'm going to show you hard. And I think that comes in from, and not to throw my parents under the bus, but I think there's a little bit of toxicity in that.
100%.
And a little unhealthy mindset in that, because I'm still a kid that, hey, Dad, I am going to take a chemistry class at 10. You stupid. In his deep Turkish accent.
He still says it to this day.
Oh, yeah. He's seen
Every time you get on the phone with him. You stupid.
You stupid. You're so stupid. Although I will say this. He has changed his tone now. He's like, I'm so proud of you. I love you. I'm like, where the fuck was that when I was 8? But I'm happy. I'm happy because that's what's molded me into who I am today.
Right.
And so, I'm 12 years old. Hey, I'm working in a lab. You stupid. Hey, I'm 14. Hey, the media is saying 14-year-old boy disproved Harvard professor. I got published. I'm getting all these scholarship offers. You stupid. Hey, I'm 16. I'm at Harvard studying biology. You stupid. Hey, I'm 18 working on a NASA-funded project. You stupid. Hey, I'm going to become a stand-up comic. You embarrassing. Hey, I'm going to go do Smart Cups. And throughout that all, my mom always was in the background going, you need more realistic goals. You need to get a job. You need to go work in a factory. And I could never submit to that. I could never do it. I always thought, like, there's got to be more. There's got to be more. I think you get so close by your environment and by what's surrounding you that you don't think about the possibilities out there. It's just a closed mindset. Like for me, I always think about the broader world. I have been since I was 5. Then at the age of 5, I just said to myself, I'm like, I need to get the fuck out of here. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to fucking do it. It just so happened, science was my thing. So people say to me all the time, like, you love science. For me, science was a means to an end. It's like no different. And I did an interview maybe like a year and a half, 2 years ago with a sports agent. And I made the analogy. I go, science to me is like a football player who's trying to get out of the hood. And football is the vehicle for him to break perpetual poverty in his family and to make something of himself. It's a means to an end. Mm-hmm. And then people from the outside go, why'd that guy retire in his prime? Because he got paid, because now he can go do the things that he's passionate about. Yep. For me, it just so happens that's how I viewed science for a very long time. But Smart Cups is something that I'm legitimately passionate about. And the ability to go improve people's lives or make a dent in the trajectory of the world is something special and something that I've devoted my fucking last 11 years to. Right. And so, one day maybe at my prime, I'll walk away, but my prime hasn't even hit yet. That's the way I see it.
No. And as you get older, I think when you talk about your parents and how they, we're almost always dejecting to you, it creates this lack of fulfillment because at the end of the day, your inner child really wants to fulfill your parents and make them happy.
Right.
And so
that's it. At the end of the day, I just want to make my dad proud. So thanks, Gordon.
It's a nervous laugh because I mean, my mom was the same way. It's like my way of getting out was always schooling, and then to find when I moved to go to school and I got into the snow cone stuff and then it led me to the show. Now my mom's like, Aaron, you're such a good kid. You have such a bright future. And I'm like, dude, you told me I was a rat's ass for 18 years until I moved out. But it's like the same thing though. I would never change what those 18 years were because it's molded to allow me to create the life that I've begun to create.
I almost think that I'm doing a disservice to my kids by being the opposite way, where they come to me with like a shitty drawing and I'm like, wow, that's beautiful. That's so special. And I hang it up. Whereas my parents would have told me that's a pile of shit, run into traffic or something. Right. And, but I like always shaking his hand, but I try to support my kids. I try to tell them, but I also give them like an honest, hey, listen, the real world doesn't work like this.
Right.
I love you. This is special to me, but the real world, they're going to be brutally honest. And so, but I got a question for you though. When you got the call that you were coming on the show, what did you think?
To come on the show?
From the finale.
Oh, for the finale. I mean, I was stoked because I knew that I was going to get to share this moment with you of being in the finale. And not only that, I knew that I had made it much further than I had ever anticipated. And so being able to come back onto the finale, it almost felt like redemption to me, even though it wasn't my company, to be a part of the winning team and to get to meet your family. I felt like I got to know not only you a little bit more as a person, but understand your motives and why and how you've achieved the things that you've achieved in your life. And so being able to just be there, witness that, be a part of it, and then ultimately, you know, create a friendship with you that's led me to move out here to California to start this podcast. I was stoked, and I was ecstatic because then I get to tell my family, hey, I'm going to be on one more episode, and hey, I didn't win, but I did, if you ask me, because I was like, I'm a winner now. I feel
you're there in the winner's circle at the end of it, right?
And then to come out here and to be a part of this as we go through this transition of getting Gordon on as a partner and seeing what we can do with him.
It's almost like you did win, man.
In my book, I won because going on to the show from the very first day, I was going there not for the intention of getting investment, but to build a network because I had no network. And so to be able to surround myself with people in a similar realm of what I wanted to do with my life, and then to be able to pull a few of them out of the crowd, like you, I mean, Caroline, I can text whenever I want. Really for the most part, a lot of the people, I gained a lot of friends from it who are doing similar shit to what I want to do in my life. And that's what I wanted out of it. And so to get you to join Smart Cups, be a part of the Smart Cups team, in reality, I did win. I didn't win the money, but in my brain, I won from that show. I got what I wanted out of it.
Yeah. And, I mean, you're in 9 of the 10 episodes.
Yeah.
Now, there are moments, it's entertainment to some aspect,
very
right?
much.
You need to be entertaining.
100%.
Like, Lan was here, and she was talking about, you know, I wish we would have negotiated a deal. That shit's boring.
It's so boring.
It's boring. Real business is boring. So anybody who says, I wish they would have done more business oriented. Oh, really? You with your 9 to 5 who makes $50,000 a year, you want to see more business? You want to come hang out with me for 10 hours a day and see the real business? It's boring.
It's so boring. And honestly, what I had expected from being on the show and being around Chris was this just fantasy world. I was like, dude, this guy is nothing like I ever met before. I'm going to walk into this magical fucking building. But being here for 6 months, I'm like, this shit is boring. You get up, you work every day, you figure out, solutions to problems, and there's nothing like genuinely entertaining about it, but it's work that has to get done. And at the end of the day, the goal is that it affects other people's lives in a positive way and that you get fulfilled out of it. You get fulfillment out of doing everything that we do here at Smart Cups.
Yeah. I mean,
it's not fun.
No, it's not fun, and it's not entertaining. It doesn't make for good TV.
No.
It doesn't. I mean, to some extent it does. I mean, there are fun moments.
Oh, there's definitely fun moments. It usually just doesn't involve like working. It's when we step away from the computer for 5 minutes to bullshit.
Yeah, I think if there was a camera crew in here for 2 months, we'd probably have one kick-ass fucking reality show.
We would.
We would have one hell of a reality show. But I mean, the nitty-gritty of business and negotiating and solving the problems, if you took the highlights and then us joking about it, you look at the severity of the issue, and then you take a step back and how we handle it with a smile on our face and how we fuck around, like I was jiggling over there laughing. But that would be entertaining. But 2 questions I get all the time, 2 questions. And question number 1 is Caroline really like that? And question number 2 is the snow cone kid. Is he an idiot? And I stop people even before they get a chance. And I'm like, I fucking brought him into Smart Cups. Do you think I'm an idiot? Like, no. That's one of the smartest, hardest working, hustling kids I've ever come across. That's why I allow him at Smart Cups. If he was an idiot, I would not allow him anywhere around me. So, but those are the 2 questions I get all the time. But I think for you, yeah, I mean, shit, man, if I was 20, 21 and fucking 9 out of the 10 episodes and you're in the winner circle, that's pretty cool. I mean, my kids loved you, by the way.
Yeah.
My kids think you're like their older brother. And that's the coolest part. So like even outside of the relationships that you're able to form from being on the show and leaving the show, those are things that'll go with us for life.
100%.
I
think about it often, even though I have no girlfriend and no idea of getting married. I'm like, man, who would be my best man at my wedding? I was like, I got all these older friends now. I'm going to be sitting in line and having some fucking guys with walkers in about 15 years when I get married.
Yeah.
Going to have Chris and Owen on the line with their fucking walker.
I'll have
Like, Gordon couldn't make it, but his seat's back there in the back corner.
I'll be in a wheelchair, and I'll have an oxygen tank on me. Just wheel me around. It'll be, no, it's really cool. I really got a kick out of meeting you on the show. And they asked me, who from the cast would you want to bring back? And I said, Tony or Aaron. Yeah. Either one of those, or if I could get both of them, bring them both. And it kind of sucked in episode 8. I'm kind of the one that eliminated both of you. So I was like, yeah, if they say no, I don't know. What's Jordan up to? Yeah. It's like that scene in summer school where the guy shows up on the first day and then he goes to the bathroom and he never comes back. For those of you who've not seen the movie Summer School, it's an 80s movie, really funny. Substitute teacher, gym teacher, teaches summer school for kids who failed. They got to take some standardized test. Kid comes in the first day, has to go to the bathroom, doesn't show up. He's missing the entire movie. Just comes in the final day for the test, and he ends up getting the highest score. That always reminds me of Jordan. So it's funny.
No, that's super cool. All right, well, this kind of wrapping up the episode here. You got any last words for your finale win, your partnership?
I just think it is a very humbling moment. It's testament to anybody out there. If you work hard, you put your head down, anything can happen, right? Mm-hmm. I never thought in a million years that I would be on a reality show earning Gordon Ramsay's $250,000 investment. It legitimately was the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my life. Emotionally, physically, spiritually, it drained the hell out of me. And for me to come up on top, it made it all worthwhile. But like I said to you the other day, in that final episode, I was extremely nervous because I was going, man, if Gordon picks Caroline or Lan, he devalidates the innovation component of this. And I'm starting from square one all over again. It was the devalidation that concerned me the most in that final episode. And in my mind, I was saying to myself, shit, I wish I would have just gotten eliminated for some stupid shit. Like, bad customer service or bad this or undercooking meat. Because in this moment of truth, when he has to make a decision, if he goes with the status quo, I'm screwed. Yeah. That's the whole point here. You're trying to push people away from the status quo. But I just want to thank Gordon, Fox, all the producers, the entire crew. Hey, people don't realize how big that crew was. 300
people a day.
Yeah,
to film that show.
The wardrobe people to the production assistants, Winston, Desi, Janae, Marissa, Larissa,
yeah.
Jolene. Sorry. In her words, Larissa would probably say, whatever. But all those people that helped us. Mary's huge. She's a saint for dealing with our shit, all these people that the story team, the editing team, the sound guys who had to tolerate my yelling OTFs, everybody. But it all starts with one person, and that person is Gordon Ramsay.
Yeah.
And he galvanizes this entire thing. So I'm really looking forward to the future. I'm very thankful and blessed to be here, and let's just see what the future brings.
This has been a wild 10 episodes of Gordon Ramsay's Food Stars, and I know that Chris and I can say we've enjoyed sharing our behind the scenes of each episode over the past 3-4 months with you guys. We still have a few more interviews that we'll be releasing with contestants from the show, but from this point on, Gordon Ramsay's Food Stars behind us, and now we have lots to talk about in the future.
Now we could start going into conspiracy theories and business.
We can start, this podcast is going to open up, and I'm super stoked, though. There's going to be a lot of things that come across our plate over the coming months that we'll get to share and discuss, and Relmon. I look forward.
I'm looking forward to it because I'm really excited about letting the chains off and talking about things outside of Food Stars. Even though Food Stars is so important to our lives for this period, really diving deeper into business and getting other guests that have nothing to do with Food Stars and really talking about just current events, how it affects business, and getting to share who we are a little bit more.
Yeah. I do want to give a shout out for the end of this episode to some of our favorite Reddit users. Big Sports Nerd has been the guy on Reddit, talking up the podcast, letting everybody know that me and Chris are the shit and that you should listen to this podcast.
Yeah.
So Big Sports Nerd, whatever your name is, we see you and we love you.
My cousin is on Reddit and will reach out to me and say, "Do you know what they're saying about you?" And I was like, I don't know, man. Whatever you want to fucking say, go have at it. But this is bullshit. Go have at it. If anybody really is interested in knowing the truth, I'm not very hard to find. We got emails on our website. Just send an email to the general inbox, and you want to set up a 30-minute Zoom call with me. If you're on Reddit and you want to know the true story, come reach out. Or you could stay anonymous and behind a keyboard. I'm pretty sure some of the contestants have some of their buddies posting on their behalf, but that's a different story. I'm calling all you out.
Calling everybody out, calling out all the people who have become fans. We see you guys. We don't get to interact with everybody.
Yeah.
There's way too many to count.
For the people who've supported us, thank you. For the people who are spewing hate and misinformation, go fuck yourselves.
But also thank you because you give me a driving motivation to shove that shit down your throat.
Absolutely.
Anyway, that's a wrap on this week's episode. Holla.
Holla.